Hopping, everybody. Monday Night Football, MLB World Series Game 3, Sports Equinox. Everybody knows the drill. That being said, though, we're going to be focusing on the Monday night game. I know there's a lot of sports going on. We can definitely touch NBA and MLB toward the end, but focusing big time on Monday Night Football as always. On Mondays, we stream for every single game and we find some best bets. And Sunday, what a slate, boys. We cooked yesterday. That was awesome. It was like a 5-unit day. Hit some one nice first touchdown out of 3 tries. We hit a couple of other our straight bets were absolutely on fire. And it was a great day. Absolutely great day. So let's finish that up this week with a more profit, and let's lock in for tonight's Commanders and Chiefs game. Now, for those of you who I'm sure know, if you guys are new to stream, I'm a Commander fan. So I have big time thoughts on this game. I'm loading up DraftKings and FanDuel, see what boost we got to work with. I know FanDuel, we got something. I'm assuming there's like an Equinox boost as well. With that being said, though, we are going to focus in on just Monday Night Football. We have a 3-leg, 10% boost. That's all DK has given us for just football, and FanDuel. Take a look at what we got going on. Nothing too exciting, I don't think. We just have a live profit boost. Okay, so pregame, it's going to be just ball knowledge, but I have a ton of thoughts on this one. So give me 1 second, as always, to get the promo. Get the promotion out for the boys to get into stream. I already bet the over. I bet over 47.5. I got -105, seeing a -104 here at Profit X, which if you guys want to tail, this would be the place to do it. I'm going to start with a holistic game overview, and then we're going to dive into some player props, first touchdowns, and make sure that we have everything good to go for tonight. But looking like over 47.5 on Profit X. Let's see how much liquidity is there. Again, I bet -105. Only at 107, there's 8K here at Profit X. So if you want to tell the over, this looks the best available price. So I'll just check back in here. Maybe at Novig, there's a 106, but I bet the over. And I went on a pretty long rant on stream last Wednesday with Jake. We always go through all of our favorite game lines of the week. We go through every game on the board. And I had, again, like a pretty big rant for this Commanders game as a Commander fan. I'm checking Novig quickly. Yeah, -107 is the best you're going to get at 47.5 now, which is like honestly more than fine. Maybe there's a 40 that's like a -120, 47, 23. So let's look at the market here. Opened up much higher than anticipated because we didn't know about Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels ruled out, and this total was 46.5 on Wednesday. I wish I bet then on stream, honestly, but I still bet the 47.5. Not really trying to make up for not betting it, because obviously 47 is a key number here. Hey, see what's popping, bro. We had a fun day yesterday, that's for sure. Thanks for hopping on stream yesterday and right now. Let me give you my breakdown on this game. Let's take a step back here. I know a lot of the times when we're talking games, we're just trying to go for the market. There are some games I have strong thoughts on, other games I don't. This is one where I have strong thoughts on. I bet the over for honestly one main reason. Now, since I bet the over, I knew Jaden Daniels was out when I bet the over. But since then, Terry McLaurin and Debo have been ruled in, and the total has been going back and forth between 48.5 and 47.5. So a bit of a two-way market there, where on the spread, it's been a lot of one-way Washington money. It was, as you can see here with Outlier, it started off at like 9.5. Well, pre the Jaden Daniels injury, it was like 4.5, 5.5. Jaden Daniels out, confirmed hurt. Goes to 9.5, where it's kind of a split market where it's like, will he play, will he not play? Then we get all the way up to 12.5. This is what it was at when we were talking on stream Wednesday. And now we've gotten some Washington money back to 11.5, down to 10.5. I don't know if we'll see a flat 10. There might be. Let's take a look if there's a flat 10. For KC Lang, you can get that at a Kalshi, at Profit X or at MGM if you're interested in the KC side at 10. But definitely some clear Washington money bringing the market back to where it was. So that's the market for you on both sides in total. But now let me give you my thoughts. And this is, again, I am a Commander fan. I bet on my team when I think we're going to win. I fade us when I know we're going to get smoked. Definitely do my best to keep any biases out of my handicapping, especially when it comes to the Commanders. So here's kind of my breakdown of this one. Mariota going with Debo and Terry, first time, or this is the most healthy the Commanders' pass catching unit has been. Obviously, Eckler's been hurt. He hurt himself earlier in the year. But now you have their full complement of weapons outside of course, Noah Brown, who it is what it is. But we have Debo, we have Terry, we have Bill, we have Ertz. That is Washington squad. Of course, Jalen Lane, rookie's been playing a bit. He's really good on the punt return stuff. Luke McCaffrey, also a good kick returner, has done some good things in their absences. Though good things, we take that with a grain of salt because it's not like he's done anything too crazy. A couple of big catches, a couple of touchdowns, but I think he got shut out last week. Did leave the game with a bit of an injury, with a little injury. So let's go into this game, right? Patrick Mahomes and co, I think, are going to put up a 40 piece. I think this is a Kansas City spot all the way, and I'm actually confused as to what the market sees in this one. I talked about this big time on Wednesday. Washington, their defense is so bad, and their one thing that they could probably do against this Chiefs team is their interior offensive line for the Chiefs is a bit rough, and Washington's done a good job, especially up the middle. They have very good interior big men, interior defensive linemen. That is the strength of this team. Of course, Dorrance Armstrong is now out for the season with Papa Magnifico, and that's their biggest player on the edge there. But looking here, injuries like Washington defensively is pretty solid. Dietrich Wise was hurt earlier in the year, but that's again on the outside. What Kansas City is doing is they are actually at this point, they're probably the best offense in football. All the talk about, of course, the Colts, which is obviously great. And this is again, like we're talking about tiers here. Like you want to say the Colts are better than the Chiefs, that's fine. But the Colts and the Chiefs are in the same tier, which is to me more important. And this is a game where Washington normally probably would play hard and probably win. I mean, play hard. Of course, they'll play hard. They're on prime time, after losing a couple of games and getting embarrassed realistically. But the Chiefs coming off a 31-point demolishing of Vegas, finally with Rashee Rice back in the fold. Beat Detroit, a little bit of help from the refs, but at this point it's probably guaranteed. Lost to Jacksonville, but their offense was humming. And now we have the Rashee Rice in the fold entirely. I don't know how Washington is going to hold up this pass catching unit. Rashee Rice is firing on all cylinders. They have a deep ball game with Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, and even Tyquan Thornton off the bench. They have possession receivers and Kelsey still. Rashee Rice is still a possession. He's just an absolute dominant animal, interior, underneath, all over the place. And Juju Smith-Schuster is a very good possession receiver as well. Washington does not have the horses to guard these guys, and they're going to try to get Mahomes running for his life. Mahomes is great against any form of pressure, and Washington's going to have a ton of trouble containing Mahomes. Listen, if you go commies with the points, like at this point, I would say is probably the sharp side just from the way that the market has moved. Like it went from 12.5 to 10.5. It's been pretty crazy. Washington money. What's popping, Biz? Thank you for hopping in as well. We had a great day yesterday, so I'm glad you were part of it as well. But Washington does not have the capability of stopping them. And on the flip side, right? Kansas City's defense has always been good, and Spagnuolo is one of the best defensive coordinators. He does a great job at just sending pressure. And Washington, they're going to be trying to get the run game going, which we haven't seen them be capable of doing the last couple of weeks, even against bad rush defenses, which KC is considered a poor rush defense relatively, though realistically, they're not that bad. And Mariota now, yes, he has his pass catchers, but Terry's coming off an injury. Debo has done a good job this season, but separation's been a problem. And Mariota, I think, is going to be under duress for the entirety of the game. Now, Washington, they get in trouble when teams are like honing in on the run game, because Washington's run fits are actually pretty, honestly not that intricate. And if teams can get Washington second and 10, third and 10 after, two failed attempts to rush the football to start off the drive, Washington's going to be in a world of hurt, even with Deebo Samuel, even with Terry McLaurin. So I think the Chiefs are honestly like an alternate spread potential bet. I'm going to look at their team total here quickly as well. I thought it was 30 on Wednesday. I think that they're absolutely live to score 30 plus points. But the reason why the over is my favorite play is because I do think the Chiefs themselves can score 37 points. And I think Washington isn't going to be getting shut out. They do have some good opportunities in garbage time. I think they'll be able to score, at least 10 points here realistically. But I think that it's going to come down to the Chiefs carrying it over in a game that I think could get ugly pretty quickly. So what do I think of Patty over 274.5? That's obviously very high, but it's understandably high. Let's dive into some prop stuff, but let's look at the Chiefs quickly. Their team total, it's really sitting at 29.5. Chiefs score over 30. This is at Rivers. Absolutely love this as well. I think that the Chiefs absolutely dominate. We have not seen the pinnacle of the Chiefs offense so far, and we saw a glimpse of it last week against a terrible Raiders team, how they shut them down both ways. I think Washington can get to, like I said, 14, where the Chiefs do their thing and they're scoring 30 plus themselves, getting us to an over here. But let's dive into some props here. We'll start with Mahomes here. I'm going to filter just to the props that like I really kind of care about, and we'll make sure we're betting some first touchdowns as well. And spoiler alert, we're definitely looking at Chiefs here. I don't even know if I'll bet a Commander. Well, the price will dictate realistically, but I'm definitely not dying to bet a Commander. But let's get a bunch of markets up for this game. We're gonna not targets. We're gonna filter out just for, of course, this slate tonight, which is the one game. Kind of again talk some baseball toward the end of this, so that game starts sooner than this one. Football's on the brain. I am agnostic for who I think or who I want to win, I should say, for this World Series. Back to the task at hand, though. One quick tweet, guys. I'm using Outlier as always on Monday and Wednesday. So 7-day free trial code. If you're on YouTube, it's in the description. If you're on X, it's right under the tweet right here. So let's go to that Mahomes prop. That prop is crazy high, which is like I was hoping we maybe get a bit of a discount, but against Washington, we're clearly not getting it. Mahomes, of course, has been on one this season, only going over twice. But again, we're talking about a high-ass number. I think that this is definitely playable, AEC. I think that where I actually probably would go, though, is to Mahomes' alternate touchdown passes. Washington is really good on the ground. I shouldn't say really good, but we're much better. And we're getting 2.5 as like the baseline, but I think that that's absolutely warranted. 128 at FanDuel, 125 at ESPN. The books are anticipating what I'm anticipating, which is a Chiefs offensive explosion, because one, the metrics make sense from a standpoint of how bad Washington's defense is. And also, I think that the market understands how good this offense is going to become moving forward with Rashee Rice. And again, we're seeing glimpses of it, but I think it's going to really like hit the wall running. And speaking of Rashee Rice, so one of the things the Commanders really struggle with is they struggle against guys who are like that guy. And Rashee Rice did not need any more time for an introduction in that game. He, showcased how he's that guy, scoring 2 touchdowns in his debut there. From a target perspective, I was seeing this alternate line. Let me get to the baseline, 67.5 here. Went under that, but still 10 targets, 7 catches in the debut. What's his receptions at? Because I think Rice to the moon at 6.5. So again, like these are things that I kind of wish that were, still getting a bit of a discount on per se, but it looks like that's not going to be the case. And DraftKings, this 5.5, 159, I think is actually a very good, I hate to call it like a parlay piece. It's, very square, but I think that for an alternate line that there is some, EV here. We have Hard Rock at 55, FanDuel at 182. Going first TD 20-1. See, that's what I'm talking about. This is where like I could see myself betting a Washington player, because that is a crazy price for a wide receiver 1. So Joey Gabagool, love the name, first of all. Second of all, we're going to check first touchdowns in a bit, but as it stands, that is absolutely on the radar. Like that is a great price. So definitely thank you for calling that out, because I think it's worth a sprinkle for a first touchdown. We'll definitely be betting one on both sides, and definitely the Kansas City side. But Rice receptions, not like a ladder spot there because it's already, set ridiculously high. I think that Rice, though, is going to be the guy to turn up entirely, because, again, Washington struggles against players who are, like, undoubtedly the better players that they're facing. And I mean that in the sense where, like, the alphas are the ones who feast against Washington. Commanders' defense really that bad. They're really that bad. I'll pull up some advanced numbers. I'll go to RBSTM, and I'll filter the last couple of weeks. The thing about the Commanders, and I ranted about this on stream on Wednesday, is they have no depth because of how bad their drafts have been. And Washington, again, like they have shown like some good the best that they played this year have come against bad teams. Now, we're not betting any John Bates because he gets maybe 1 target a game max. But I'm going to pull up some numbers here, and I'm going to try to filter to see some of the weeks that have gone by that have really been holding back Washington. But have we see 22nd in drop back EPA on defense, total EPA per play 23rd. On the ground, they've been good. That's been the best thing that they've done this year on the ground, as we see 14th. And drop back EPA, that's the opposing quarterback EPA per drop back, 22nd. Now you might think 22nd, like not too horrible, but again, you're within the likes of the Niners defense, which we know can't stop anybody. Raiders, Baltimore with all those injuries was terrible. Titans, Miami, Titans, Miami, Cincinnati, and Dallas. We don't need to discuss. If you've been watching football for even 5 minutes this year, you know how bad those defenses are. And you're still below the likes of the Bears, the Giants, the Panthers, and even the Cardinals, who have obviously struggled so far this season. So, bit of a heat map. This is rbdsm.com for some EPA stuff. So you can see how kind of the league sticks out. As a Commander fan, I know that this defense is even worse than they're showcasing. And again, the injuries are what's killing them, because now that they've lost Lawrence Armstrong, they're by far their best rusher. They've already been without Will Harris, who was a safety they signed this offseason. Washington has no depth. Noah Iganagabi is not playing. It's a coach's decision. Interesting. Drake Jackson's been hurt. Jean Baptiste got hurt a while ago. Dietrich Wise got hurt early on as well. And Washington is really severely limited in their secondary. Like Lattimore gets picked on all the time. He either has a perfect game, honestly, or he's committing 4 DPI calls. Mikey Sanders still, year 2 slump, has been hitting like crack in the 80s. And this linebacking core, Bobby Wagner, Hall of Famer in the making, give him his gold jacket, hell of a player. He has no sideline to sideline speed, and that's where Washington really struggles. So because of that, I want to look at some worthy stuff. We have some worthy underneath. I'll click on Rice and we'll go to click on Hunt. We'll go to worthy. Some worthy underneath stuff I think can absolutely be open all game long. What's his receptions? 3.5. This is real line 132. 130 at Hard Rock. I love this bet. Worthy over 3.5 receptions. Let's pull it up on ProfitX and see how much liquidity is there. If not, the MGM 135 makes sense. Yeah, not a lot of liquidity here. 134. So ProfitX is better than MGM, so I would bet it at ProfitX. But I think Xavier Worthy underneath can absolutely feast. Only 2 receptions against the Lions, 3 against Las Vegas. Of course, we have Rashee Rice back in the mix now. But the target share is 4. Worthy only 4 targets in this LV game. 4 targets after a 9, and then, of course, the week 1 where he got hurt. I think this is a good spot for Xavier Worthy underneath. And again, this reception prop 3.5, 134 at ProfitX, and seeing a 135 at MGM. Let's confirm this line is still available, because I love Worthy today. And in this reception market, this James Cook was a loser from yesterday. Worthy 135. I like that a lot. What's his touchdown? 178, 175 DK. I also like Worthy touchdown. The speed factor at Washington's linebacking core has no speed, and our tackling is abysmal, especially in the open field. Wide receivers against Washington averaging 1 touchdown a game, but I don't think we're going to see situations where like they're getting into the red zone, then we're getting Pacheco and Kareem Hunt to pick up the yardage. I think that they're going to continue to struggle. Washington's defense has been good in that regard. And again, our one kind of advantage in this one is our interior defensive line against the Chiefs' interior offensive line. But overall, no, I think that we're looking at some of the big dogs here. So Xavier Worthy to score. Another player that I want to look at as well, and I'm going to be confirming everything that we're like betting. We're just doing a quick roundup, and we'll fire off a bunch of things in the slip. I like Travis Kelce. I know that obviously he's I don't want to say he's in the doghouse. That's not true, but we know Father Time isn't the kindest. But again, Washington over the middle of the field. I don't think Travis Kelce. I think Travis Kelce is going to be able to do what he does and just is not like go absolutely nuclear like old school Travis Kelce, but I think convert on a bunch of targets here. So this 128 as well, I like. So because of the juice here, let's build something right now. This is going to be a Chiefs stack. We only have a 10% boost, unfortunately, on DraftKings, but we'll build it up. 4+ receptions for Kelce. We're going to add some Xavier Worthy anytime. And we'll keep building from there. Because I love both of those props a lot. I really do. I really think this is going to be a Chiefs demolition of Washington tonight. I know that the market's back and forth, and I would like for the Commanders to, win for my team's sake. But I find it really hard to believe that is going to be the case today. Let's look at guys like Juju. Possession receiver. Facts. Never seen Kelsey at -110 TD. They're making it obvious. Yeah. I mean, Kelsey's at even money here at DraftKings. Let me let's get Kelsey. Let's look at his TD elsewhere as well. Just out of curiosity. 136, 136. I mean, I just like there's so many places to go with this. I actually could see like let's go to Pacheco. I could also do some correlation here and probably bet like a Pacheco under. Rushing yards is 49 and a half. Let's see if we get an alternate lines here. I guess DraftKings is in this 49 and a half. They are not. Maybe they're at 48 and a half. We'll see quickly here. 48 and a half. No, where's there? I mean, we can switch back here and just say rushing props, Pacheco. It's going to be correlated. So it's going to probably not a 51 and a half. Looking at the under here, but I actually might want to consider Kareem Hunt quickly because Pacheco is, kind of picking it up a bit, emphasis on a bit, 51, 57 here. But let's go back to Kareem Hunt because even though the number is so low, yeah, it's not low enough, honestly, 19 and a half. I'm going with actually Hunt over Pacheco here on the under for rushing yards at 19 and a half. And I actually think Hunt under is definitely worth a straight bet. I'm going to be betting all this. And let's see what this is with the boost. Out of curiosity here, but let me just confirm this because Kareem Hunt under 19 and a half rush yards. Let's see the best price in market here because I want to make sure betting that looks like it is at DraftKings at 107. I love that. I love that. It's muted. All right, we are back, boys. Sorry about that. I'm betting this right now. Rushing props. And again, betting Kareem Hunt unders, it just has to do with like the matchup. And I don't think that there's going to be a situation where Washington or the Chiefs need to like take their foot off the gas or anything like that. I think they just continue to run down their throats or just throw the ball at will, I should say. So let me build this out right now. Kareem under 19 and a half. Touchdown props, Xavier Worthy. Receiving props, Kelsey, 4+ receptions. That brings us to plus 850 with the boost, 935. We could get greedy to get to 10 to 1, just because why wouldn't we? Mahomes 240 passing yards, 283 gets us to 10 to 1 with the boost 11 to 1. Yeah, lock that in. I'm locking that in. This is the parlay using DraftKings boost tonight. Worthy anytime. Kelsey 4+ catches, Mahomes 240+ passing yards, and Hunt under 19 and a half rushing yards. I know it's a Chiefs stack, and honestly, boys, I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it. I think that finding some Chiefs stuff is going to be the way to go about it. Absolutely. Okay, so 0.1 unit on that parlay on DraftKings. Hunt, Mahomes, Kelsey, Worthy anytime. Definitely want to look at some Rice stuff as well. We don't have any like no switch or anything like that, but I think again on the overall domination that I do anticipate to happen here. Let's see some receivers versus Washington. Oh, those are rushing yards receivers. Let's go to receiving yards just to showcase some of how difficult it's been, right, for against Washington. We'll go to wide receivers. CD cooked them. Pickens cooked them. Even Turpin and Dolber got over there. DJ Moore barely got over, but he did. Again, the Bears' offense is like not a great comparison there. Like Luther Burden went over. Zacchaeus under, but he dropped the pass where he would have absolutely flown over. Washington was able to run the ball at will in this game with JD back against the Chargers. So I don't, they're not going to see that there. Drake London, Alpha cooked them. Jacoby Myers, deep threat down the field, cooked them. Even Jacoby Myers was able to get over against Washington so far this season. Running back side of the backfield, receiving, DeAndre Swift cooked them. Bijan obviously went nuclear, and Hampton was still able to go over. So let's look at let's look at the receptions per game. He's not getting targeted, Kareem Hunt. What's Pacheco in the receiving game? And I do think these numbers are going to go down because, of course, you can have Rice and Worthy either or in the backfield as well. Um, Hollywood leading the target share still with Kelsey following, but of course, Worthy missed a game. Brashard Smith also forgot about him picking it up as well. The rookie and Rashee Rice, 1 game, 10 targets, freaking dog. But let's look at touchdowns. What is 2+? 7-1. I would like better, and I hate that it's at FanDuel, but I'm so interested in this Rashee Rice 2+ tutties. He again is an alpha, and alphas are the ones who are completely killing Washington. I'm gonna look at first touchdown because if Rice is anywhere below 8 or higher than 8-1, I'm definitely intrigued by that as well. Let's look at some first touchdown stuff, but also like Joey Gabagool called out the McLaurin 20-1. I think is still a great price for wide receiver 1, but Rice 750, just under where I would love to bet it. Though with that being said, I think it is priced properly here. Let's check out the liquidity on ProfitX out of curiosity. Only 66 cents, so that's not the real price, really. Yeah, Rice is down to like 670, which is still better than market. 650, 600, yeah. Definitely intrigued by Rashee Rice. Let's keep looking for some first tutties. Worthy at 10-1 is already catching my eye. Bill at 12-1. I normally love to bet like RB1s at those prices, but I think Bill could be losing a bit of his snap share with some fumble stuff. And also, they like Rodriguez. They know McNichols is better in the passing game. Hunt 20-1, Debo 19, Terry 19. Hollywood at 18 is still a bit intriguing. Noah Gray, I don't think we need to go deep in the bag of tricks for a Noah Gray to score for this one in this matchup here. So I think it's a worthy spot at this price. Let's see where else it's available. Let's see. We have a 10-1 at FanDuel, 950 at DraftKings, 10-1 at FanDuel it is. I'm betting Xavier Worthy first touchdown. Rice, I love. I mean, Rice 2+ Worthy first. Are we getting that crazy? Are we getting that crazy? Because I'm not a hater of that. Just want to check this quickly because I am still intrigued by Kelsey. Kelsey's what though? 6-1. Yeah, I can't. Even though I think again, Rice and Kelsey, I think are absolutely like the more likely candidates to score first. Don't get me wrong. I can't bet those prices. I honestly don't think so. I think at this point, the first touchdown, like I said, Xavier Worthy 10-1. Give me that. I'm in. Locked in. Xavier Worthy 10-1 first tutty. From the commie side, let's take a look again. I saw Devo and Terry both at like the same price, which makes sense to me. We have some bonus bets from the Thursday night. We hit on that Trey Harris last touchdown. Should we just throw the entire thing on Worthy first and Rice 2+? No, I'm just playing. Just playing. Just playing. We got to player props here. Let's look back at first touchdown potentials for Washington's side. Worthy be locked and loaded. Travis Kelsey, 920 at ProfitX. Again, though, I need to see liquidity because that doesn't seem right. That seems way too good to be true, which it probably is. Anytime anything's too good to be true, it is. I'm not going to switch. Actually, 487 in liquidity, actually. So I actually that Kelsey price at profit at 900, 487 liquidity. I actually do like a lot as well, but won't be doubling down there. I'm just going to stick with Worthy. Bill, I like the price, but I don't like Bill overall. Ertz at 20-1 is also intriguing. They're giving Washington all of their top pass catching options 20-1. Mario at 23-1, which makes sense. Mahomes 23-1 as well. Debo versus Terry. I think the data is not going to really tell us anything. We know that Terry's missed a ton of time. We know Debo's been active and cooking. Ertz at 20-1 is honestly the most appealing. Let's look at some of the rest of the prices here. 18-1 at DraftKings is the most honestly the thing that's catching my eye the most. Yankoff barely plays, so this injury is meaningless. Let's check out other bill prices because 12 to 1 for an RB1 is always going to be interesting to me. The question really becomes how much of an RB1 really is bill. I think that is like the debatable factor in this, but which is why we're getting a 12 to 1 realistically on the guy who should be expected to be taking a majority of the of the snaps there. Um, not going to bet that just yet. I do want to cook up another parlay. Let me confirm what. Oh, FanDuel's boost is live only, so it's not that attractive realistically, unfortunately. Hold on, let me get another promo out for the stream here with 30 minutes to go. Just want to make sure all the boys are in chat. Get a quick retweet going. There we go. Okay. Where can Washington have success? This is a question. We saw Mariota. Let's look at him and his stuff because obviously we've seen him play. We've seen some of the stuff that he brings to the table here. Pass attempts is high. Let's go to his pass yards because I did see a pretty big discrepancy in the market. 199 is what we're looking at here. He, of course, Dallas he came in cold against Atlanta, couldn't do anything against Vegas. Played very well, but again, Vegas' defense is abysmal. KC at this point is realistically an entirely different animal than the freaking Las Vegas Raiders, as not going out on a limb to say that. It looks like this price was bet down a bit, then bet back up, with Washington getting bet up. So I guess they're anticipating some good stuff from Mariota. But what's his rush yards here? 30.5. We saw a drop. We saw a buyback on Mariota as well. Cooked against Dallas, Atlanta didn't get there. Vegas got there. The Chiefs loves to blitz, and also Washington loves to do designed runs for Mariota. I like this a lot, actually. I am going to, well, what's a 30 plus? No big 28.5, 112. Let's see if this is available because if so, this is a bet for me. This is a bet for me because Mariota with his legs, Washington does a great job design running, and Mariota at times has looked more spry than JD5 even looked. We're getting $129 of liquidity, so I would recommend snatching that up. I'm not going to call that a play just because of like small liquidity. I'll take a worse price for the boys here, but I definitely would recommend you guys get in on that number if you're watching and are interested in tailing. If you're not using Novig, use promo code BetSmart. You get a 100% purchase match up to $25. And this 29.5, 117 has more liquidity. So that I would actually call a play. Let's see. Yeah, 30.5 is minus 111. I'm calling this a play here at 29.5 over 1K of liquidity. I think that's more than fine for a player prop. For the record, if you guys disagree, let me know because I'll gladly change that. But I'm writing that down. And let me bet this on Novig quickly on my phone. So I'm taking some of that liquidity for sure because I'm interested in that. That's kind of the only stuff I look at for Washington from an over perspective. Like honestly, I really don't think Washington is going to have this like really great game plan. I think Mariota can do it with his legs, as we're talking about here. 20. That was 29.5. Okay. 29.5, 117. There we go. Taking some of that liquidity right off that. Boom. All right, I'm in on Novig. Let's see what Terry's line even is for his first game back. First game back, tough defense, tough matchup. Potential, of course, like trailing game script, but I don't think that trailing game script is going to actually like relate, or I should say, like translate into Washington like having success in the air in garbage time. Like I don't think that it's going to come that easily, especially like Mariota. Like even Mahomes said it himself. They were talking about like JD5, and obviously he's not playing. And then Mahomes like diverted the conversation to like, hey, like Mariota's playing. We've seen what he can do. He beat them in that playoff game with that pass he caught to himself. They're familiar with Mariota and what he's capable of. And he is, at this point, one of the best backups in the same system here. But with Terry McLaurin, 44.5, Limited time this year, was a ghost in these games, ended up turning up against the Raiders, but that was a Raiders game that was over from, a minute left in the second quarter. Washington just turned up all over them. I just think still at 44.5. Let's see what the rest of the market is. They're 43 here, 47.5 is high. 50 plus is only 108 at FanDuel. I honestly don't love, not enough to fade. I don't think this is like an obvious fade by any means because it's so low, but that's not something I'm very much interested in, even with it being so low, considering the injuries and him finally playing. Like, also can't forget, I don't know how much to, put how much stock into it, considering Terry missed all of training camp with the contract dispute, comes back, gets hurt. Eye test did not look to be in game shape whatsoever when playing. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say like that is like a guarantee. That was definitely eye test, but definitely looked slower than normal. Not on the same page as with Jaden, so I would not anticipate him being on the same page as Marcus by any means, even though he did have that 70-yard game here. Debo, let's see. I mean, any Chiefs injuries to like really note? We have Fulton, who's sitting, coach's decision, so not an injury. Deion Bush has been out. We know that Josh Simmons is out. Trey Smith is out as well. That's offensive line stuff. So nothing really on the defensive side for Kansas City to really like raise any alarms or to like potentially be like a matchup to target. If any Washington pass catcher is going to score, I do have to believe it's all reliable for Washington. He's been their most reliable guy kind of for 2 years. I know like you could still definitely say Terry for last year, but Ertz dominating that target share still. Like, I don't think Jalen Lane is in a situation where he's going to like continue to play high snaps. I think McCaffrey as well. Like, some of these guys, their snaps are going to be limited now with Debo and Terry back in the fold here. So what is like McCaffrey's receiving yards? It's 10.5. I am very tempted in an under. Prospects at 8.5 here. I'm very tempted in an under. Like, he had some of these games where he had to step up and did clearly. Now, even if he does have to step up against Dallas and like a ideal matchup realistically, wasn't capable of doing anything with the man-to-man defense that Dallas deployed. That's something I think is worth noting too, because KC is going to do the same thing. They're going to send blitzes. They're not going to be that scared, even though with Terry and Debo going. So I think it's an Ertz spot for any Washington pass catcher. National Tight Ends Day obviously is over. It doesn't mean we can't get a last minute here. ESPN even money on over 3.5 receptions. Receiving yards, we're at 30.5. Definitely lean toward receptions always with Ertz. But anytime Tutty, 275 at DK, 270 at FanDuel. I still think the best way to do anything Ertz, honestly, is just the first touchdown. Of course, this isn't a play that's going to win all too often, but at 20-1, let's look at the rest of the market. I think Ertz is the best commander here. DK 18-1, let's confirm that. And I'm going to lock in Ertz for my commander first tutty. We have Xavier Worthy already, and Ertz 18-1. I'm locking into my phone right now. Those are the two first touchdowns for this game. Again, really struggling to see Washington having like so much success. And honestly, anything they do, whatever in the slip clear all. Let's see, where is he? Zach Ertz, 18-1 first touchdown. I like that more than I like Terry, and I like that more than I like Debo, realistically. At the same time, these primetime games can get weird, just like Casey and Jax. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. But the thing to me, while like I'm definitely not discrediting that, but kind of just I guess some insight into my thought process is try to get a screenshot of this. Ertz first tutty 18-1. Some of my thoughts though is like we're in the point of the season now where I think we know like who teams are, and like you're trying to also handicap a lot of injury stuff as well. Every team is going through injuries. Every team's going through, being banged up if they're not actually dealing with injuries. But the Chiefs are a team to me that is like finding their stride in week 8 rather than a team like Pittsburgh, who started off so hot and now they're kind of like losing some games. You're kind of seeing it with some smoke and mirrors, some of the wins that they had. Even like a Jacksonville themselves as well, a team that like beats the Chiefs, then goes to London, looks like one of the worst teams in football, and is obviously struggling. So yes, these primetime games do get weird, and again, the market is backing the commies at this point. Like, don't get me wrong, they're debating between a 12 and a half and a 10 and a half. Not like this has come down to like a PK or anything like that, but definitely some market interest in Washington overall, um, from a spread perspective. And yes, these primetime games get weird, and I know that Washington, like this is a kind of like a what's the best way to put it? I wouldn't say like a Dan Quinn like legacy game because that's obviously a bit overblown, but this is definitely a situation where like Dan Quinn, if there is any time to have his boys like up and running, it is for prime time against the defending AFC champs and of course the legacy that the Chiefs are building. I just don't know where on the football field Washington is able to find the success. And the reason why, like, I say that is because in so many games, like, you can, like, talk yourselves into situations where, like, oh, they have this advantage, even if it's, like, something that's kinda underblown. Like, on the Chiefs side, for example, it's Washington secondary, and it probably sounds square to be like, okay, like, yeah, of course, you anticipate, you know, Mahomes to turn up against Washington secondary, but I think that that is just, like, a completely, um, inignorable factor here, the best quarterback in the world against one of the worst defensive secondaries in all of football that also lacks defensive edge rushers, which we know is massive for anything related to Mahomes. And the one thing, again, I've said this a few times, I just don't know how impactful it would be, is we've seen Mahomes going back to the Super Bowl against the Buccaneers when they got smoked. The issues have been with the pressure up the middle, and that's actually where Washington can get pressure with Deron Payne, Johnny Newton, Javon Kinlaw. That's actually the strength. And we know we're missing Josh Simmons, and we're also missing Trey Smith for Kansas City, which is big. So if they can really disrupt Mahomes that way, then like that is the pathway for Washington to win. I just don't think that that's going to happen because even when you go after the coaches, like Steve Spagnuolo, I think he's going to put on a clinic against Kingsbury. The way that he just goes all out blitz, they'll play their man-to-man coverage. They obviously have the talent all over the place. We haven't even talked about Chris Jones's propensity to, blow up this game from the inside as well. Washington has a great center in Biotish, but the interior of the OL, especially with actually, that's a great question. Is Sam Cosmi playing? I should know this, but Sam Cosmi could be one of the big helpfuls here. He did play last week, so that's actually a big factor. Um, no injury designation for Monday night. Looks like Sam Cosmi is playing. He was just sore, missed the day of practice, but Sam Cosmi is actually one of the best players on Washington and offensive lineman. He was hurt, got hurt toward the end of last year. Finally back, played last week as well. But like, I don't know. I think Mariota to be able to run the ball is going to be like where they're going to have some success here. But let's actually look at some Bill stuff. Potentially for some unders. The price is going to dictate everything. Now, this 5.5 receiving is interesting, but I want to look at some target stuff. Only had one target or two targets in this Dallas game. He's a guy who's getting one or two targets. So having one or two design plays to Bill out of the backfield to utilize his skill set in space because Bill still is a stud. He just didn't catch the ball in college. It just wasn't what he was asked to do. He also didn't play a whole year in college. A 5.5 receiving yards is a bit low. Actually makes me want to like look at Rashad Smith also. Like maybe there's a little weirdness to be done here with like a Smith and Bill alternate receiving combination, though. I say that with a grain of salt because again, I do think that like the Rashee Rices of the world are the ones who are going to tear up this game. His numbers are just so high. I wouldn't dare fade. I think if anything, you gotta kind of ladder a bit higher for Rashee. 68.5 here, minus 110 MGM for receiving number. Again, did not go over, but maybe this could be a reverse correlation. Like, honestly, I love Rashee touchdown, but again, 105 is just so low. And what is it on FanDuel? I think it's warranted, though. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not sitting here saying, like, this is egregious, don't touch it. I think if you're betting something for fun, like, you want to throw in a Rice touchdown at 105, like, I think absolutely. I don't think it's like, dude, like, that price is so bad. Like, he has no chance of scoring. Why is it like that? I actually the opposite. I think it might be actually short. Even money on FanDuel. Um, but what if we did this? What if we did Rice under receiving yards, parlayed though with 2+ touchdowns? Obviously, this is crazy. I'm just so curious what the price would be for this. This is a price discovery bet. I'm gonna build it on FanDuel on my phone. Take out this anytime. Only 21 to 1. Okay, let's see what that is on FanDuel. Because that is not intriguing enough for what we're betting on. Those odds. Muted myself, sorry. On FanDuel, it's 25.19, but the receiving yard line is 67.5, not the 69.5 that we're getting here. So those 2 yards, though, for plus 400 in odds, especially for something this crazy. No. Trying to click some stuff to see if it does come in, but if it's not worth it, it's not worth it. There's no no other way to put it. But I don't know. I think we could mess around a bit more with some like crazy long shots. I'm gonna look at actually. Let's pull up DK over here, and I'll have FanDuel on my phone. Let's look at some like most receiving yards and most rushing yards stuff for the game. Um, let's see, because you can parlay that on FanDuel, not on DK. Most rushing yards: Mahomes 8 to 1, Hunt 11 to 1. Hunt, of course, for anti. We have him under in the parlay, so we don't. I don't think Raj. I don't think he has a good game whatsoever. On FanDuel, Mahomes is 13 to 1 to have the most rushing yards. Pacheco is actually 14 to 1 with Bill 12 to 1. 1.25 to 1, excuse me, to 1.4 to 1. So as you see, DraftKings has Bill and Pacheco in basically like a headlock there for the price. FanDuel is leaning Bill and has Pacheco as the plus money guy there. And let's go to receiving yards because I'm curious what they're doing for that market. Most receiving yards. Rice is 160 and McLaurin 480, Worthy 5 to 1. This is getting a bit more intriguing. Let's see what DK's prices are for that. Most receiving yards. Rice is 150, Worthy 425, McLaurin 450, Kelsey 550, Kelsey 7 to 1 on FanDuel. Juju 35. They have some other guys deep on the board. Let me see. Ertz 13 to 1. Ertz is 18 to 1 on FanDuel. Hollywood's 25 to 1 on FanDuel, so that's 18 to 1. McLaurin 450. McLaurin is same is 480. If I'm gonna bet Rice, I think the fun way to bet Rice, but let's see actually whatever his alternate receiving yards here. Let's go back to outlier. If we go up to like what's 100 plus? Only 330 actually. On FanDuel. DraftKings at 277. That's better to me than the most receiving yards at 160. And what's 90 plus is 230 as well. I love this. I'm honestly going to start building something right now with Rashee Rice alternate receiving yards 90 plus. And then again, my other, I'm going with the obvious suspects here for no other reason except like Washington again, like they get dominated by the main players on the other team. It's not always the case. There are teams, as we know, that are great at shutting down like their number one options, and other guys are the ones who run wild and have success. But with Washington, it's the alphas. The alphas are the ones who are unguardable. They do a very poor job of holding down the team's best alternative. So we have Worthy over 4+ receptions. So we have really touchdown this parlay on DK. So for everyone who's hopping in now, we did bet using DK's 10% boost. Hunt under 19.5 rushing yards. Mahomes 240+ passing. Kelsey 4+ catches. Worthy touchdown. Worthy receptions. Now, this has gone down a bit, but I think that alternate receptions, let's look at some of the numbers here. Like, what's 4.5? FanDuel, it's 136, DK 147. So we'll build this on both. We're not using a boost on FanDuel because I only have a live boost, but I do want to add that to slip. We'll get rid of these this fun reverse correlation that the pricing wasn't fun enough here, but we'll go Rice 90 plus, and let's see what odds we're getting here. Over 89.5 to be exact. Same thing, same difference. Load it up on DraftKings, and I have it on my phone. I'll be putting in worthy alternate receptions. 5 plus 136. That's 550, 594 on FanDuel. Okay. That's a good starting point. That's a good starting point, though. I think we could maybe even do a bit more for this juice here, whether it be for probably for Worthy over Rice at this point, considering where the market is sitting at on Worthy's. But let's see, what's 6 plus receptions? 3-1 on ESPN, 297. Let's do one more reception instead. Let's go to 6 plus on Worthy. Receptions Worthy. 6 plus with Rushy Rice, 90 plus receiving yards. Let's see what that is on FanDuel. 986, so a little bit better on FanDuel. Just a bit better. Kind of want to go nuclear with this, just for, again, this is entirely for fun. We are going with the Chiefs stack, obviously, with Worthy and Rice. We did Chiefs stack in the other parlay too, which I don't think should be surprising. But we don't have touchdowns. Like, let's go to Mahomes here, and let's see what Mahomes' 3 touchdown passes is in here. We don't have a touchdown score, so I don't know if anytime I was like, wait a second, is that a mispriced line right there? Sitting at 2.5, which is annoying. Let's bounce back here quickly. Passing props. Mahomes 3 plus 125. That's 16-1 on FanDuel. Mahomes 3 plus is 1766. So that's the better price on FanDuel. I'm going to lock this in. Again, we are glazing the Chiefs today. We're going with the big dogs, and no profit boosts on FanDuel, only a live one, but I still think this one is worth it. I really do. So I just bet that. So Rice 90 plus receiving yards, Worthy 6 plus receptions, Mahomes 3 plus passing touchdowns. Give me the Chiefs in or out. I also bet the over 47.5. We bet. We've run through everything I bet. Let's give me 1 second here, because I'm getting everything down in one spot. And I'll check the other books, see if there's any other boosts quickly. Obviously, we got the World Series starting off soon. But this is what we bet. We bet over 47.5, Hunt under 19.5 rushing yards, a parlay of Hunt under rushing yards, Mahomes 240 pass, Kelsey 4 receptions, Worthy anytime. We have Worthy first touchdown, Ertz first touchdown, Mariota over 29.5 rushing yards. Then we have this fun SGP of Rice 90 plus receiving yards, Worthy 6 plus receptions, Mahomes 3 plus passing touchdowns. Perfect. Check again for anything Washington that could be worth it. Let's just filter some Washington guys and let's run through some numbers. But again, I'm so anti-Washington in terms of one, they're figuring out who's going to be their guy is difficult this year. They have a spread out offense. We know people's playing times are going to get cut with Terry being back. We also don't know how healthy Terry is realistically. Obviously, he's healthy enough to play, but that didn't mean much to start the season by any means. Just getting the commies pass catchers up in here. And we can take a look again. This McLaurin number looks low. It probably is a bit low, but I'm not interested in betting it. A Terry touchdown. You're getting 310 for a Terry touchdown. See, this is the point now where it actually is a bit interesting just because Terry McLaurin, when healthy, and obviously it's Mariota over JD, but even if we knew Terry was I mean, he's playing and he missed some time, so we have to assume fully healthy. 310, that's not where McLaurin normally sits. So from that perspective, obviously no touchdowns this year. Last year, touchdown machine. And let's see, let's even do this. Games without Jaden Daniels. We're not loading here. Game without player. Jaden Daniels. Let's see, like last year, 2024. He did not score without JD5 last year. Only played one game, Mariota. He did play a half as well in that matchup, though. Debo dominating, Terry there, Jalen Lane, like Chris Moore. Let's look at him, actually. This could be a fade target because he drops so many footballs, but actually, if we're betting him 12.50 to score a touchdown, 12 to 1 at FanDuel, I'm actually, much like probably want to fade him. He is their veteran, and he does get a lot of targets. Let's looking at just this year, right? Look at target share. Like, again, a lot, take that with a grain of salt. Washington also doesn't throw the ball that much, but 5 targets against Dallas, 5 against Chicago, 1 against the Chargers, more healthy, 3 against Atlanta, 2. He also drops a ton of passes, 1 against Washington. But that 12 to 1 for him to score is actually like pretty sexy. I'm not going to lie. It's 11 to 1 now at FanDuel. What was it at DraftKings? I'm checking on my other monitor. I'll give you flip over in a sec here. Chris Moore, anytime, is 11 to 1. When you have Jalen Lane at 9 to 1, you have McCaffrey at 9 to 1, C-Rod and McNichols 11 to 1 and 9 and 8 to 1 respectively. Let's look at some of that because I think of Washington, for them to score or guys on their team to score, it's a deep down the board thing. So let's get to McNichols here and Rodriguez. We'll take a look at both of them. McNichols, again, more of an option in the pass game, has scored some touchdowns, breakaway, massive touchdown run against the Raiders here. Red zone rush attempts. C-Rod has been dominating there. Jacory right behind him. And I know they love C-Rod. I know they do. Let's go to touchdowns for McNichols is 10 to 1. What's C-Rod? I think is 8 to 1. Did score last week against Dallas and has 1 red zone rush attempt. You have Debo back. You have Mariota, who of course can run it here. Let's look at pricing though for touchdown. 11 to 1 at Rivers is a great bet. Any combi sportsbook you have, I would definitely take a look there. This 8 to 1 at FanDuel, I'd like that over Chris Moore because I think if they're going to score, they're going to have to like use the run game. And like Bill, let's look at Bill's price because it does get to a point again where like even though you don't like a team or a player, if the numbers are telling you it's worth betting, a 195, I actually don't hate the 175 here. I'd rather go with the potential for a Chris Rodriguez touchdown. So bet the FanDuel here quickly. Anytime touchdown. Bill just dropped to 170. Hollywood dropped as well. C-Rod 8 to 1. I like that over Jalen Lane, even with the down the field stuff. McCaffrey with the down the field stuff. We're talking about like noodle arm Mariota. Like, don't forget about that. This 8 to 1 for Chris Rodriguez. I'm betting it right now on FanDuel. Let me just confirm on DK. The pricing though should be good. He's 8 to 1 both spots, so it doesn't matter where you bet it. FanDuel, DraftKings. That's the only Commander stuff I'd bet outside of course, the first touchdown for Zach Ertz. But from a touchdown perspective, I think even though we're getting Terry back and Debo back, I'd rather go deep down the board for a Commander touchdown. Though Terry at 320 is very intriguing price. It really is. So is his first touchdown, like from pricing perspective at 19 to 1. Like it's a wide receiver 1. Again, getting the disrespect, quote unquote, for the fact that they're a 10.5 point underdog. But at that point, I also don't think it's really a big thing whatsoever. I don't think so. That's going to do it. I just do want to take a quick look back here at like the most rushing yard market. I had Herbert on Thursday. It was a 22 to 1. He was winning in the first half. That game was close. That had some life there. Mahomes at 13-1 is interesting to me. Obviously he's got to beat Mariota in that regard as well. Rushing receiving from Bill, curious. Pacheco. No, I'll pull up DK as well, though. DK has been like screwing with the prices there. So off market into the opposite side of FanDuel, which I would believe to be sharper in these markets as well. This is receiving yards. I'll go back to receiving on FanDuel. I'll switch over in a sec here. Most receiving yards. So we have a wide array of players here on FanDuel. We have, I'll zoom in a bit for you guys. Debo. Well, we have Rice, Worthy, McLaurin, Ertz, Kelsey, Samuel, Tyquan, Hollywood. See, like at this point on the board, I think it's absolutely shot. Like Jalen Lane is not, none of these guys are getting there, in my opinion. And we'll go back to DK, most receiving yards. Rice, worst price, Worthy, worst price, Terry, worst price. Everybody is a worst price over here. Unfortunately. Ertz is not going to get there. Don't get me wrong. Let's go back to rushing. Most rushing yards. And we'll go back on DK as well. I'll switch on over in a sec. Most passing yards, though. Unless Mahomes gets hurt, which we never root for. Yeah, these numbers are so crazy. You got 120 for Bill on both books, 135 for Pacheco now on DK. Those were tied up. So Bill getting some love. Mariota, worst price. Mahomes, worst price. And Kareem Hunt also worst price overall here for the rushing stuff on DraftKings. So again, right now we are looking for some like fun stuff. We have everything that we're like seriously betting, locked and loaded. I don't know which Washington player is going to like get the benefits of still playing with Debo and Terry. Like Jalen Lane does make some sense. McCaffrey with his slot stuff makes some sense. Though, you know, Terry's outside. Debo can play in the slot. Ertz, I think, should continue to eat. Jalen Lane, though, this number has bounced around a bit. This 11.5, 14.5 there. If this is the best price, this is sitting at 11.5 of the other books, though. This actually might be a final ad, honestly, here. Obviously, I'd like to bet some of these like lower key guys unders, but Jalen Lane 11.5. Rest of the market where it's at, I like this as well. I like that Jalen Lane. It's available on MGM. I like that. Jalen Lane over 11.5 receiving yards. So that's what we'll call that. So final plays, boys. Jalen Lane over 11.5 receiving yards. Chris Rodriguez anytime 8-1. Parlay 1766. Rice 90 plus. Worthy 6 plus. Mahomes 3 plus passing tutties. First touchdowns, Ertz and Worthy. Mariota over 29.5 rushing yards. Hunt under 19.5 rushing yards, and then a parlay of Hunt under rush yards, Mahomes 240 plus passing, Kelsey 4 plus receptions, Worthy anytime touchdown, boys. So that'll wrap it up. No stream tomorrow, but I'll be back Wednesday for the Week 9 Best Bets show with Jake as always. Best of luck with your bets today, boys. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button. If you guys want to try Outlier, hit the link under the tweet or in the description on YouTube. It's a 7-day free trial. Likes go a long way on YouTube, boys. So please hit that like button. It would be greatly appreciated. And I will see you boys on Wednesday. Good luck tonight, and let's end this week with